So, how does your company create a successful customer retention strategy?
First of all, I believe that having long-term clients is crucial, and that is what a company has to be most concerned about because a client is the center of every company, and without them, the company does not work. It's what keeps them running day by day. Like I said before, it is one of the most important things to have long-term clients, but above all, to have good relationships with them. One of the things we do to keep our customers happy and well satisfied in order for them to stay with us and don't reach our competitor is to have our target market well marked. We know their needs and their desire, and we try to satisfy them 100%. However, it is not an easy task to do that since we have three types of restaurants. We have the drive-through, the food court, and the standard restaurant. And each one of them has its own clients which have different needs and desires. And we as a company must adapt to each group of clients. And as I said before, try to meet those needs as best as we can. Another fundamental thing is to follow up on the projects we launch and the client satisfaction. Once we start operating, we are constantly measuring the behavior of the market by doing interviews, surveys, or viewing and analyzing the comments of our customers, whether they post in or online or they tell us in person, in order to know exactly the changes that we as a company must do to improve and to be able to reach the ideal operating model. And that is the goal that day by day we put on. Having a long-term clients make the company leader in the market.
And have you ever experienced, or what are your major difficulties or challenges that this company faces while negotiating with an overseas supplier?
I think one of the biggest challenges that we have faced as a company is not so much not being able to reach an agreement, as most of the companies have that difficulty, but not being able to calculate in advance the time that we need to place an order. Sometimes we cannot easily agree when they have to send the product because many of the times we don't get the product in time. We need to consider a short time to make shipments, so we have to negotiate with our suppliers to have a win-win situation. It is very important that we have to consider that is a very important aspect, that we need to consider when negotiating. It's the time zone and the hours of difference between us and our distributors. On the other hand, it also requires more time than a local or national supplier because sometimes the product takes longer to arrive or is a little bit slower. Also, the price rises and there are greater risk that the merchandise is exposed. So we have to negotiate with them in order to have a better deal than the local one. So that we always have to look for the best option on that matter. I think the most difficult thing is to negotiate with an overseas supplier because we need to determine who absorbs the risks involved in moving the goods and the waste of shipping. One time it happened to us that the supplier promised to send the product well packed to reduce the risks, and we got the product very mistreated because the other party did not fulfill their part of the negotiation. So for us as a company, it is difficult to establish who absorbs the risks and just to find good suppliers that we can trust so we can help each other out and have the best possible result.
And how does your company achieve to figure out the company's principal approaches to overcome those barriers that are presented while you are in the stages of a negotiation?
I think we have a very capable team that make these barriers increasingly smaller, and we can reach an agreement with our suppliers faster each time. However, it is not easy since we are an international company because every single decision that is made must be approved beforehand by a board and supported by other companies that are already established. Because we have certain standards and guidelines of quality and flavor, we cannot disregard that aspect. So our process of negotiation doesn't take a day, and it's way much more longer than that. So for us, the best way way to figure out how to approach these difficulties is not to make a hasty decision, and above all, always be well prepared to negotiate. We do a prior investigation of the distributor to know they're interested and have fewer problems at the time of negotiating and finish the negotiation.
And I don't know if you ever experienced an unsuccessful negotiation process at the end, and how you couldn't reach an acceptable agreement, and what did you learn from that experience as a company?
Thinking about it, one of the most recent experiences we had, it was with our thermos supplier. Since the negotiation round, we had an agreement where the supplier assured us that they gave us the best quality in the market. They gave us samples where everything indicated that the thermals were good, and we believe we had reached a quick and efficient agreement. We made a very large order of about 7,000 thermals, and we started selling it to our clients, trusting that our quality was the best. However, we received complaints that the product was leaking, so we went back and talked to the supplier, and we had another series of negotiations. And we tried to reach a new agreement. However, the suppliers were not flexible. We could never reach that agreement, and we realized that they were looking to make a sale, and they were not interested in being part of our chain of long-term suppliers. So we consider that purchase and negotiation as a loss, and we had to change provider. What we learned was to never be afraid to negotiate and give our point of view in a clear and precise manner, and to say it as it is, so we cannot cause any misunderstandings. I learned as a company, we learned that you have to have legal clauses where you can establish what can be done in case they don't meet our standards that they have promised us, and just have agreements to avoid risk above all, whether for us or for them. Just have a reasonable and manageable agreement where both parties are happy and the product and the quality is never compromised.
And how does your company motivate or trains your sales executives in order that they can meet the enterprise expectations and targets?
Well, this is a very interesting question because we are constantly training our staff, and we work hand in hand so that everybody is prepared. We seek to incentivize them emotionally, economically, so they can be in contact with the final customer or with our suppliers in the round of negotiations, which try to involve them as much as we can, so they can target and see the expectations of either the clients and the suppliers, and we try to motivate them by knowing those needs and making them feel that they help in satisfying them. And we guarantee everybody in the company is ready to be in the negotiation and has the abilities and the capacities to represent as well. For us, it's very important to have very well trained sales executives, so they are happy to do their job. They will go the extra mile, and most importantly, they want to stay with us in the long term. So when we involve them in negotiations or when we ask them to meet our clients, we do it with intention that they feel that they belong to the company, that they feel part of a team, and that they can see the results in a more tangible way, to have them meet with clients and see the actual result and see the customer happy. It's the best way for us to guarantee a happy associate is a happy company. So as a conclusion, we think that making them feel part of the company is what makes our company the best in the market. We have great people working, we have motivated associates, we have great new people that are willing to work and go the extra mile, and that motivation help us meet our expectations and our needs, and that's pretty much how we have been operating for the last couple of years.
Thank you very much for your time and for your honesty in answering these questions.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.